Let's get started with our first news. We've got some huge rumors shaking up the UFC landscape. Last night, Brazilian content creator MMA Owi dropped what he claims is massive insider information. If you're not familiar with him, he's a major name on the platform, has interviewed several notable fighters including Alex Pereira, and is even connected as an official stake sponsor, which is the UFC's official betting partner. According to him, and he insists his sources are very credible, the main events for UFC 327 and UFC 328 have already been decided. For UFC 327 in Miami, the reported main event is Jiří Procházka versus Carlos Ulberg for the 205-pound light heavyweight title. That would mean Alex Pereira is set to vacate his belt and move up to heavyweight, something many fans have been expecting. The co-main event is said to be Joshua Van taking on Tatsuro Taira, which aligns perfectly with the recent rumors we've been covering. That card would instantly become must-see if this holds true. Now for UFC 328, things get even bigger. The report claims Alex Pereira will make his heavyweight debut against Ciryl Gane for the heavyweight title. This suggests Tom Aspinall could either vacate or be stripped of the belt while recovering from injury. That matchup would be absolutely massive and could headline any event worldwide. As for the highly anticipated UFC White House card, the rumored main event is Justin Gaethje versus Ilya. That alone is fireworks guaranteed. The co-main is reportedly a women's bout, possibly for a title, and is being described as a total bombshell, though details remain under wraps. These leaks, if true, could reshape the entire UFC calendar in dramatic fashion. Move on to another news. Carlos Prates has just sent a strong message to his potential opponent, telling him to sign the contract and stop wasting time. With everything currently unfolding in the welterweight division, it feels like we are on the verge of some big fight announcements. The division is heating up fast, and several major matchups are being discussed behind the scenes. There have been rumors swirling about a possible Islam Makhachev versus Ian Gary fight in the near future, and that alone has fans talking nonstop. But while that matchup grabs headlines, it seems like Carlos Prates has also been offered a fight of his own. The only mystery right now is the identity of the opponent. Nothing has been officially confirmed, but speculation is everywhere. A lot of fans believe the UFC could be lining him up against JDM. That fight would make perfect sense stylistically and would absolutely deliver fireworks inside the octagon. Both fighters are aggressive, technical, and always looking to make a statement. However, until something is signed, it remains just speculation. Prates recently took to Instagram and posted a very direct message aimed at whoever is holding up the deal. He wrote that he was told the offer is already in his opponent's hands. He made it clear that the fans are waiting, and more importantly, he is waiting. He questioned whether they are actually going to make the fight happen, or if it is all just talk. Then he doubled down and said, "Let's give them the fight of the year." Sign this contract, man. That kind of energy shows Prates is more than ready. He is not looking to sit on the sidelines or wait for perfect circumstances. He wants the toughest challenge available, and he wants it now. In a division stacked with killers and rising contenders, making noise is everything. By publicly calling out his opponent, Prates is applying pressure and building anticipation at the same time. One thing is clear, Carlos Prates is locked in, confident, and prepared to step into a massive showdown the moment that contract gets signed. Move on to another news. Dan Hooker has officially responded to some wild allegations that surfaced online over the past day. Yesterday, reports began circulating that his ex-girlfriend publicly accused him of cheating on her with other men. The claims quickly spread across social media, sparking intense reactions from fans and members of the MMA community. If you missed the initial breakdown, the story gained traction fast and became one of the most talked about topics in the fight world. Now, Dan Hooker has broken his silence. Instead of issuing a lengthy statement, he chose a more subtle and sarcastic approach. He posted a message saying, "Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned." While he did not directly deny the allegations, his response suggested that he was surprised by the situation and possibly dismissive of the claims being made. The post immediately fueled even more discussion, as people debated what exactly he meant and whether more clarification would follow. The MMA world did not stay quiet either. Craig Jones jumped into the conversation with a tongue-in-cheek comment, writing, "It was one time. Relax." His response appeared to be sarcastic, but it only added more fuel to the fire. Meanwhile, Sean Strickland also reacted, posting, "The glove fits for sure." As expected, his comment drew attention and sparked further debate among fans. At this point, there has been no detailed statement from either Dan Hooker or his alleged ex-girlfriend beyond what has already been shared publicly. Without additional proof or clarification, the situation remains filled with speculation and online chatter. Social media has been flooded with opinions, jokes, and heated arguments as people try to piece together what actually happened. For now, it appears that Dan Hooker is choosing not to engage deeply with the accusations, at least publicly. Whether this situation develops further or fades away remains to be seen. One thing is certain, the MMA community is watching closely, and any new update will immediately grab headlines. Move on to another news. Belal Muhammad has shared his prediction for the upcoming main event between Sean Strickland and Anthony Hernandez, and he broke it down in serious detail. With the fight just one sleep away, fighters across the roster are locking in their picks, and Belal gave a clear assessment of how he sees this matchup playing out. According to Belal, Strickland is going to do what he always does. He expects him to come forward behind the jab and constantly throw teep kicks to control distance. In fact, Belal even predicted that Strickland could throw over 150 teep kicks in this fight. He believes the teep will be a key weapon, especially since Hernandez has shown vulnerability to the body in past fights. Kevin Holland finished him with a body shot, and he's been hurt to the body before, which suggests that area could be a real weakness. For Strickland to succeed, Belal says he must keep Hernandez at jab range and teep range. He cannot afford to get reckless or overly aggressive. Moving forward too carelessly could create openings for Hernandez to shoot takedowns. Belal emphasized that Strickland has to stay disciplined, avoid wild exchanges, and maintain his usual steady pace. On the other hand, Belal believes Hernandez, also known as Fluffy, needs to shoot early and attack right away. He thinks Hernandez should pressure, push Strickland to the fence, and force him to wrestle from the opening minutes. Even if the first or second takedown fails, Belal believes the third, fourth, and fifth attempts will start to drain Strickland's energy. The constant wrestling pressure could break his rhythm and wear him down over 5 rounds. Belal also pointed out that Strickland hasn't fought in close to a year, and that layoff could play a factor if Hernandez brings an intense pace from the start. Testing Strickland's conditioning, pushing him backwards, and attacking the body could create serious problems. In the end, Belal made his pick clear. He is backing Hernandez. He believes the relentless wrestling pace will be too much and that Fluffy will eventually break Strickland down with pressure and persistence. Move on to another news. Islam Makhachev has responded directly to Gordon Ryan after the grappling superstar claimed that jiu-jitsu works better in a street fight than sambo. The debate quickly caught fire online, as fans of both disciplines began arguing over which martial art would truly be more effective outside of a controlled environment. Islam made it clear that he strongly disagrees with the statement. He said he does not agree 100% with the idea that jiu-jitsu is better suited for a real-life altercation. According to Islam, the biggest flaw in that argument is how street fights actually begin. He pointed out that fights start on the feet, not on the ground. You cannot simply lie down on the pavement and invite someone to grapple. As he put it, you cannot just lay on the street and say, "Let's fight here." Islam emphasized that sambo prepares fighters for both the standing and grappling phases. It blends wrestling, throws, trips, and submissions in a way that transitions naturally from striking range into control. In his view, that makes it more practical in chaotic, unpredictable situations. He explained that sambo has been used in real combat scenarios and that it works. He also mentioned that he and his team have trained and competed against high-level BJJ practitioners. According to Islam, sambo has proven effective against them as well. The ability to dictate where the fight takes place, especially by initiating takedowns from a standing position, gives sambo practitioners an advantage in his opinion. While Gordon Ryan remains one of the most dominant figures in no-gi grappling, Islam's perspective comes from years of MMA competition at the highest level. His argument centers on realism and adaptability rather than pure submission skill. In a controlled grappling match, jiu-jitsu may shine. But in a street scenario, Islam believes versatility and control from the feet are crucial. The debate between Sambo and jiu-jitsu is unlikely to end anytime soon. Both disciplines are highly effective, but Islam Makhachev is confident that when it comes to real-world situations, Sambo offers the more complete skill set. Move on to another news. Massive rumors are swirling around the future of Alex Pereira, and they could completely reshape two divisions at once. Reports are circulating that Alex Pereira is preparing to vacate the light heavyweight title in order to move up and face Ciryl Gane for the interim heavyweight belt in the main event of UFC 328. If true, this would mark one of the boldest moves of his career. Alex Pereira has already achieved championship success at light heavyweight, but the idea of him chasing gold in a second weight class adds a whole new layer of intrigue. A matchup with Ciryl Gane would be a striking masterclass. Both men are elite kickboxers with knockout power, precision, and composure under pressure. The thought of them sharing the octagon for an interim heavyweight title instantly makes UFC 328 a massive event. With Alex potentially leaving the 205-pound division behind, the light heavyweight belt would become vacant. According to the rumors, Jiří Procházka is being lined up to face Carlos Ulberg for the vacant title at UFC 327. That fight alone carries serious fireworks. Procházka's unpredictable style and relentless aggression against Ulberg's technical striking would create a high-stakes showdown with championship implications. But that is not all for UFC 327. Joshua Van is reportedly set to defend the flyweight title against Tatsuro Taira in the co-main event. That fight has been building momentum, and it aligns with recent discussions about the flyweight division's future. Van's rise has been impressive, and Taira represents a dangerous, well-rounded challenger who could test him in every phase. If these reports turn out to be accurate, the UFC calendar is about to get shaken up in a major way. Alex Pereira stepping into the heavyweight picture would immediately impact contenders across both divisions. Meanwhile, two new title fights at light heavyweight and flyweight would keep the momentum rolling. For now, everything remains unconfirmed, but the potential shakeup feels huge. If the UFC pulls the trigger on these matchups, fans could be looking at one of the most explosive stretches of events in recent memory. Move on to another news. As we get closer to the UFC Houston card this weekend, there are already some last-minute changes shaking things up. A fighter has officially pulled out of UFC 326, which is set to take place on March 7th. The update was first reported by Wristlock MMA, the same source that originally broke the news about this matchup being scheduled. According to the report, Dusko Todorovic has withdrawn from his bout against Dante Johnson. No detailed reason has been confirmed yet, but the fight is officially off. Anytime a matchup falls apart this close to an event, it creates serious headaches for matchmakers. However, the UFC moved quickly and secured a replacement to keep the fight intact. Stepping in on short notice is Cody Brundage. What makes this even more interesting is that Brundage just competed at UFC 325. That means this is a very quick turnaround for him. Fighters rarely take such short gaps between bouts, especially after already going through a full fight camp and weight cut. It shows that Brundage is willing to stay active and take risks when opportunity knocks. At the moment, Brundage is riding a two-fight losing streak, which makes this decision even more significant. Taking a short-notice fight while trying to snap a skid can be seen in two different ways. On one hand, staying active could help him build momentum and regain confidence. On the other hand, stepping back into the octagon so quickly could be physically and mentally demanding. For Dante Johnson, the situation changes as well. Preparing for one opponent and then having to adjust to a completely different style in a matter of days is never easy. Game plans may need to be tweaked, and timing can be affected. Short-notice replacements often bring unpredictability, and that can make the fight even more exciting. Despite the late change, the bout remains intact, and the card moves forward. These last-minute shakeups are part of the sport, and they often create unexpected drama. With Brundage stepping up on short notice, UFC 326 just added another layer of intensity to an already stacked lineup.